Welcome back to Lit Up with Lo. I am so happy you're here. As I record this, we officially have a female vice president of the United States. This is a hugely expansive moment for women, and I just wanted to start off the show by congratulating our new vice president on breaking that ceiling for us. Hopefully, there are many more female leaders to come. Before we get into the episode, I also just want to update you that I officially have a website, www.litupwithlo.com. I've been working on it behind the scenes for the last month as the podcast is now 1 month old. There is an About Me section. There's also a massive podcast section since this is technically the launching pad for the podcast. There will be a breakdown of every episode, bios, additional resources, everything you could find in the show notes. There's also a morning routine section, which I'm really, really excited for. And each guest that I had on the show submitted their morning routine, and that's broken down for you so you can look back at it, refer to it as you craft your own morning routine. You can also stream the podcast directly from the website. There's also a contact page so you can get in touch with me. I've also added a travel section of the blog where I'm posting travel guides because people are always coming to me for restaurants, hikes, hotels, and all the different locations I've visited. And lastly, for now, I've added a shop page where all my favorite products, discounts will all be centrally located. But this website is going to evolve. I have a lot going on behind the scenes that I'm excited to bring forth this year. So just continue to look back and I'll be updating on the podcast as we go. Today's guest is another graduate of the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which if you remember from last week, you can use my name to get $2,000 off enrollment at any time. My guest today is my friend Taryn Shank. She's a holistic health coach and wellness blogger, and we first connected when I moved out to Scottsdale because I saw her posting so many awesome fitness classes, smoothie bars, and lunch spots around the area. In the episode, she tells us the story of how she moved out here 3 years ago, totally on a whim, without knowing anybody, and she just knew that this was going to be a place that she called home. So you'll hear all the things we love about Arizona. We also get into how she dropped out of college and now runs her own business. It wasn't until she dropped out and was interning for a naturopath that she truly found her purpose and her passion in holistic health. We talk about nutrition response therapy and how she cured herself from candida, leaky gut, and parasites with the help of a naturopath. We talk about how she overcame orthorexia and binge eating and now helps her clients to do the same. Her story as a wellness entrepreneur is so inspiring, and she gives so many tips and tricks for how to structure your day as an entrepreneur, how to build up an income so you can leave your full-time job, how to structure coaching packages, as well as how to set rates. Taryn knows so much about gut health, about balance, and about intuitive eating. Even though this was only my second time talking to Taryn, we go so deep into so many things, even talking about how important it is to have a significant other who supports your dreams and your passions. One interesting tidbit that didn't make it into the recording was after when we were chatting, Taryn told me how she remembers back in the fall when I was seeing 1111 and repeating numbers and angel numbers everywhere, that my life has transformed since then. And I truly believe that the universe has my back and has been guiding me since I began seeing angel numbers that day. My life has totally changed and leveled up, and this podcast is one of those things that has brought that change. So I'm so grateful for those angel numbers. I'm thankful for you for listening, and I'm really grateful that I met Taryn when I moved out here. So let's get into it.
I am a holistic health coach and a wellness blogger, and pretty much how I got started in this space was in the health aspect of things first. I actually dropped out of college my junior year after switching my major 3 times because I just had no idea what I was doing. Each time I switched my major, I wasn't actually interested in what I started learning. So instead of continuing to go to school, I just dropped out and decided to do some soul searching, and I moved back home. And I had all the time on my hands when I moved back home because everyone was still in school and all of that kind of stuff. So I worked a serving job, and with all the time on my hands, I got really into like fitness and making my own food, which is something I'd never done before. And I never worked out before either, or at least enjoyed working out. So I kind of found this like love for fitness and making my own food, like cooking my own food, presenting my own food, all that kind of stuff. And I became just kind of like obsessed with that. And I started to feel really good in my body, which is something I had never actually felt before. I didn't really know like how good you could feel in your body. So that was kind of the beginning of finding my passion, was making those meals for myself and working out a little bit extra with all that time on my hands. I found out that that was kind of my passion, and I went to a local juicery that a naturopathic doctor owned, and I asked her if I could interview her on her how she got to where she is, how she started a cafe, how she became a doctor, a naturopath, all that kind of stuff. And she asked me if I would like to intern under her practice at her cafe and see if there's stuff that I would like to do or if I have any interest in all these areas. And I totally took the opportunity and I did that. And I learned so much about holistic health. So I worked with her and interned under her for a year and literally learned so much about holistic health. I decided that it was my passion. I needed to share with everyone how good they can feel in their body just by changing their eating habits or educating themselves on food. And then I found IAN, Institute for Integrative Nutrition, online when I was doing some searching for how to get certified in nutrition. And I went there, and that was 6 years ago, actually. So I went to IAN, and then after I graduated, I kind of started my blog and my coaching practice, which has been crazy for the past 6 years, but in the past year, I've kind of nailed it down and got to figure it out. So yeah.
That's awesome. I just want to backtrack a little bit. So what were you trying to major in college? Like, what were the things you were exploring?
So the first year, my freshman year, I went for dental hygiene. My mom kind of pushed me into that because I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was 18. So she said to go to dental hygiene because that's what she always wanted to do. You didn't have to go to school for too long, get paid well, all that kind of stuff, which I was like interested in. But then I just wasn't interested in it when I started learning about it. And then my second year, I did business, which is great, but also I realized like it wasn't 100% for me, at least what I was learning. And then my third year, I actually switched to nutrition,
Wow.
but I didn't finish. They kind of taught more about like food pyramid and calories and all that kind of stuff, which isn't really what I do.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And then what did you learn from this naturopath that you felt like really guided you?
Oh my goodness. Like, okay. So when I say at the beginning of my journey, when I started making my meals, like that's when I became aware of health, basically. Like, and I mean the health as in like, I'm not going to go eat a McDonald's cheeseburger. I'm going to make a whole wheat turkey lunch meat wrap on my own. Like, that's what I started learning about. And so I never had learned about health, really. I realized in my whole life, I'd never really learned about what food actually does to your body. So at the beginning, I just thought like, oh, I'm going to swap out my turkey wrap and not eat McDonald's, and that's health. But under this naturopathic holistic doctor, I learned about true holistic health and medicine and using food as medicine. And it was really cool because she actually heals people of any disease you can think of. While I worked under her, I witnessed multiple people being healed of cancer that doctors said they would have weeks to live, and they went on these vegan diets and used food as medicine, and now they're still living years later. So that was something that I never even, I never knew that aspect of health, the holistic aspect of it, basically using food as medicine. And that's what hooked me, because I did that to my own body and it changed the way I feel and it changed my life. So that's like the best and biggest thing I learned from her, is basically like food as medicine. And you don't always have to use food as medicine, but I think it's great for those times when you do need to use it. Food is there as medicine, and actual medicine isn't your only option.
Totally. I mean, I think it's so awesome that you were mature enough to leave school. And that's something I've actually been talking to my fiance a lot about lately. Just the path of not going to college, I think, is going to become so much more popular, like in the coming years, because you really do learn so much more on the job. You learn so much more from internships and mentorships than you ever will in school. And at the end of the day, a lot of times people don't even like look at your resume or transcripts anymore. They care about more about what you've done. So can you elaborate a little bit on like, did you face any like stigma or like challenges after leaving school?
Yeah, a lot, actually. I mean, this was also 6+7 years ago, something like that I left school. So, I mean, times have definitely changed in that time period. So when I left school, everyone that I knew pretty much thought I was a failure and I was ruining my life and I was making the biggest mistake that I could ever make. The only person, well, some of my friends were like, whatever, we don't care. But some of my friends who were in school, they were very concerned. My family was all very concerned. The only person that supported me through it was my dad. And so I was like, thank God I have somebody to like lean on through this, because it's already hard, like not knowing exactly what you want to do with your life when you're supposed to have it all figured out. And then I'm making this huge change that I feel pulled to do. And no one was supportive. Like even my boss at my restaurant job was not supportive of me. He would tell me like, I have nothing going for me and I'm just working at a restaurant and all this and that. So that was really hard, but I was super thankful to have my dad to support me, because I feel like I'm a mentally strong person, so I can push myself through stuff, and what people say doesn't always affect me. But like it still was really nice to have my dad to support me through that. And I just kept really following my dreams, even though people were telling me opposite and that I was going to fail. And I just, every time I had a spark of inspiration or was being pulled, like, I don't know, divinely, I guess, I followed that, and it has led me here. And honestly, I feel like I've had such a beautiful journey. I would never trade it for anything. So yeah, there was a lot of not supportive people in my life during that time, but I just had to keep pushing through and know what was like right for me, you know?
Yeah, no, it's so true. And that's amazing that you're out of all the people that your dad supported you. That's incredible. But no, it's so important. Like if you don't know what you're going to do, like there's honestly no point in wasting the money. I always tell people, I've had a lot of girls come to me and be like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I think I'll go to law school. And I'm like, no, like that is you. If you want to be a lawyer, you then go to law school and 100%. But like that is a lot of money to spend on just, you think you might want to do this.
Oh, I'm honestly like, I am not anti-college or going to college. I absolutely think that it is needed for certain things like doctors and lawyers and accountants and all that kind of stuff and more. It's definitely essential. But I do not think, like we were saying earlier, everyone needs to go to school. And one of the best things I ever did was drop out of school, because I have no student loan debt. Like I'm not paying any, I paid it off from what I had, but like I'm not sinking and drowning in debt, and I'm still doing great. You know what I mean? I don't need that diploma to get me places, because I have myself and my own experiences. And I'm so, so grateful for that, honestly.
Yeah, totally. Especially like I feel like there's a new paradigm shift right now with entrepreneurship. It's not just about going to get a degree to then be like an accountant, like you said. It's more about like, well, maybe I want to start my own business. And then when you're pitching to investors, they could give a crap about where you went to college. Like they don't care. They just want to see that you have a passion and that your company is going to work.
Absolutely. I agree so much.
So, well, that's amazing. And then, yeah, food is medicine. I could not like agree more. Were there like some breakthroughs there that you were like, wow, I never thought about like food in this way?
Oh, I mean, I would say the biggest thing that was just mind blowing to me was gut health, like how food literally affects your gut and how your gut is your second brain. And that is probably still the biggest thing that just blows my mind, all about holistic health and food, because you literally are nourishing your body with what you put inside of it, and your gut is going to be affected by whether that's a more nourishing food or a less nourishing food, or you know what I mean, like a healthier food versus a not so healthy food. And that aspect just changed everything for me, because now I can put the connection together. When my gut isn't feeling good, I probably need to do something to change that, because it's trying to talk to me and saying that what I might be putting in my body might not be feeling it the right way or reacting to it the right way.
Yeah, totally. Literally listen to your gut.
Yeah, literally.
So what are some of the things that you do when you feel like, oh, I might need to like turn this around?
Well, I indulge in life. I mean, as you probably know, just from Instagram and everything, I used to struggle with binge eating, and I used to struggle with orthorexia. So I tried to do everything like perfectly, and it really just didn't work out. So now I eat pretty intuitively and live pretty freely and kind of eat what I want, but I'm also very educated on my food choices. So I'm not just out there like indulging in sugar, but if I want something, I know it might not be the best for my body, but I also allow myself to have it. And that's not just one day a week. That's all the time. So if I feel like I might be indulging in a little bit too much sugar, which I will feel because my gut will tell me, then I just kind of cut out the sugar. And one thing I do is drink a lot of water, like overhydrate basically. I love bone broth for soothing my gut too. So if I'm feeling like it's just like my digestion is off or I'm bloating a little bit, I love bone broth. It's super soothing. Other things I like to do for if digestion or bloating is occurring is like fennel tea or peppermint is super great. I don't ever let it get too out of hand where I feel like I might have candida or leaky gut, which are things I healed from in the past. But I just like to do quick fixes to kind of get feeling back on track like that. The water, hydrating, cutting out the sugar, bone broth. Probiotics always help me, and digestive enzymes sometimes too. So just those little hacks are what I like to do if I'm feeling, or if my gut is feeling a little off.
Yeah, again, it's about listening to your body. So that's awesome. Were those things that you've like mentioned, were those things you were diagnosed with or things that you just intuitively figured out?
When I like the candida and the leaky gut and stuff, when I worked under the naturopath, she did diagnose me with a lot of different things. I had toxicity, I had parasites, I had candida. I was on the verge of leaky gut. I did not have it, thank God. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. But I've literally cleansed like and detoxed every organ in my body, like in the past 5 years. It's so crazy. But I think like, I don't think people need to be doing that all the time, but with how we live, like the toxins in the air, we're getting heavy metals in our food. There's parasites everywhere. People don't really realize, and they can be affecting your body in ways you might not even know, just by you might be not getting good sleep. Well, that could honestly be from a parasite or candida or something that's going on in your body or your gut. You know what I mean? And your body's trying to tell you, help me out here. I can't sleep because I have all this going on or whatever. So I do think it's important to like look into those areas every so often, a couple times a year, and make sure everything's kind of in homeostasis and feeling good inside of your body.
Totally. What were your symptoms then?
Well, the crazy thing is I didn't even know I had symptoms because I lived my entire life feeling that way, you know? So looking back and like now feeling the way, like looking at how I felt beforehand versus now, like I was constantly bloated. I'm never bloated anymore. The only time I bloat is if I literally eat something that does not go well with my body. I was constantly bloated. I was tired all the time, having like the 2:00 crashes. Brain fog was a huge one. And yeah, there were some other ones that are probably TMI, but I just did not feel well, but I didn't know I didn't feel well. You know what I mean?
I completely know what you mean. Well, for me, I think the closest thing I have to that is like with my period symptoms, I get such bad cramps. Like, I mean, horrific, like rolling in bed cramps. I've been on birth control because of it. And like the last year when I've just been learning more about holistic living and I'm like hearing like Alyssa Vitti talk about how like, those are not normal. Like, but the world tells you, oh, this is normal. And I'm like, okay, once a month, I'm a woman. This is how it's going to be, but it's actually not supposed to be that way.
No, seriously. Yeah. We just think we think we're supposed to feel this way. We think it's normal, but it's totally not normal. And actually going back to talking about period and those symptoms that was actually a huge one, with parasites that I didn't know of. So like, I don't know, some people listening might be like, what the heck are you talking about? Parasites and all this stuff. Like, how'd you find out you have parasites in your body? Well, the naturopathic doctor that I worked with, she also had a nutrition response practitioner, which is like an energy tester. You might want to like Google it if nobody knows what I'm talking about, but I was tested in those ways. And it's kind of like energy testing, with your nervous system, and it responds, whether it likes something or doesn't like something, etc. And I was having the worst period cramps for like a couple of years. I mean, so bad. One time I went to the emergency room because I literally thought I was dying. Come to find out I had cysts on my ovaries. One of them burst. It was a horrible time.
Oh my God. I've had cysts on my ovaries too.
Yes, not fun.
Such a weird thing to bond over.
Oh gosh. But anyways, I finally went to my naturopath after I stopped working for her. And I just went to her and I was like, I need help. Something is going on with my reproductive system, all of this and that. I'm having the horrible cramps, da, 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 da. She did the nutrition response testing on me and picked up parasites in my ovaries. And so I didn't really believe in the nutrition response testing before this. I was just like, I don't know. It does seem crazy because I can't control the energy of my arm when you're getting tested, but like, it's just kind of woo-woo, kind of out there. Sometimes they're crazy. But she picked up parasites in my ovaries and said, or somewhere in my reproductive system, and said, here's the herbs, stay on them for 3 months. They're going to rid the parasites and you should be good. And I was like, yeah, right. Like, this is the most immense pain ever. It's not just going to go away by taking some herbs. Okay.
Right.
Sure enough, that was 5 years ago. I have never experienced that amount of pain on my period since cleansing those parasites ever.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh my, do you remember what herbs you took?
No.
Wow. Okay. So nutrition response therapy. So everyone can remember that. That is crazy. So was that like, were the herbs like the biggest like game changer for you, or were there other things she like told you about?
Literally, like during that cleanse, when I was doing the parasite cleanse to try to help with my cramps and period and all that kind of stuff, she just gave me herbs.
Wow.
I probably had to take like 16 pills a day, but I don't remember what they were. I just took them. And sure enough, 3 months later, after they were gone, I've never experienced that pain again. Crazy.
That's wild. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's amazing. Like what just natural medicine can do for your body.
I know, it's such a beautiful thing. Like I just live by it. I love natural medicine. I truly believe it can help so many people. Not that I'm against like modern medicine and all that kind of stuff. It has saved my life before many times, but I do believe that it is a little overused and we could take different, more natural, holistic steps to begin with that get more into the root cause of what's going on rather than just like a bunch of Band-Aid patches. I love holistic health and medicine.
I know, I can tell. That's awesome. Wow. So do you stay in touch with the naturopath?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we're pretty
amazing.
good friends and we talk here and there. She still owns the cafe. So when I go back home, I do go there and visit her. And sometimes she still does testing on me also.
Oh, that's incredible. Did you ever think about going that route, or were you pretty happy with health coaching?
That's like my ultimate goal.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the end goal, is to do nutrition response testing and have my own practice, hopefully in Scottsdale. I just got to do it,
You have to. Wait, that's so cool. How do you get like certified in that?
So there's different schools that you can do, and it's kind of like a workshop thing from what I found through my research. A lot of them have like a long workshop where you're there for like 3 to 4 days learning the technique and learning everything. And then you kind of have to re-educate yourself every like 6, 8, 12 months, something like that. So it's not too extensive. It's not too expensive. Like it's pretty easy just to learn the technique. I don't know why I haven't done it yet.
Well, you will in time, one thing at a time.
I have nothing to say there.
Yeah. And then you also mentioned you suffered from orthorexia, which I think I honestly think all of us have suffered from that. Like, yeah. I mean, especially with like all the information we're getting all the time, and then binge eating. So how did you like overcome those things?
So I would say that's a long story. So I'm trying to figure out how we can.
Well, tell it. We got the time.
So I guess I didn't really realize that I was in that space of binge eating and orthorexia until I was starting to get out of it, actually. And then when I was taking a couple steps into more of a free life per se, I realized the extent of like what the binge eating and the orthorexia had been for me. So I kind of got out of it I basically moved to Arizona. And during that time, I was not so much into binging, but I was deep into orthorexia. Like everything I did, everything I ate was so perfect. I would stress out if there was freaking canola oil on a chip at a restaurant. Like it was just ridiculous. Honestly, looking back, it's really sad how much my life was controlled by food. But I moved to Arizona and I started like meeting friends and like going out with people. And it was just like, I didn't want to be that person that was like, nope, what's in this? What kind of oil do you use? I can't eat that. Like, you know what I mean? So I would just order like the healthiest quote unquote thing on the menu that might have canola oil in it, that might have some cheese in it, like whatever it is. And I would eat that and I would definitely feel guilty and horrible about it. But it took me doing that over a long period of time to realize what issue I had with food basically. And how I got out of it was doing that more and more and more, and eating the foods that I was afraid to eat, and eating the stuff that I thought was going to be so bad for me and ruin all my progress. And I kind of had to like make peace with those foods and realize that living life in balance versus living perfectly is going to be a lot healthier in the long run. It's been like a long 2-3 year journey for me to get out of that space. But I would say the first thing was becoming aware of it, becoming aware that you're like afraid of foods, or you're in your bedroom at night eating and hiding from people so nobody will know. Like the first step is definitely that awareness, and then stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying those foods and adding them into your life, and learning how to have those feelings of without guilt, learning how to do that without guilt. So I've kind of like, I'm definitely way past that. Now I have a very free, balanced diet and lifestyle, and I'm very happy. And now that's what I do as a health coach, is I help women get out of that space and find freedom and find out how to intuitively eat and ditch dieting and binge eating and orthorexia and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Your message is so important because all the time we're just told, for example, canola oil is a perfect example. Bad. Just this is bad. Stay away from it. So bad. I even had like a moment, I remember in college, where I was at Whole Foods with my roommate and we were like making a salad bar, like, which is fine. I love the salad bar, super healthy. And I was like putting the dressing on that I loved. And she was like, are you kidding me? That's full of canola oil. Don't touch it. And I remember after that moment, I had like, I used to be my favorite salad dressing and I labeled it as bad. And like, whatever, like you have it like once a week. It's like not the end of the world.
Exactly. Your body can handle a little bit here and there. It'd be a different story if you're literally consuming loads of canola oil every single meal along with processed fried foods. But like living life in balance, just having the canola oil or the fried food or the gluten or the sugar or whatever it might be once in a while or a couple times a week, it's literally not going to do anything to your process or your progress. Your body is made to fight off those toxins or those things that it's not enjoying. So yeah, I wish everyone in the world, because I know, like you said, so many people do struggle with orthorexia. Like it's so easy with diet culture, with everything, all the information we have. And I just wish I could tell everyone in the world, like, you do not, health isn't about being perfect.
No, exactly. Yeah. Amen. And if you want the pasta, eat the pasta.
Yeah, seriously. Pasta. You might have a little bit of a stomach ache, but that's about the worst that's probably going to happen.
No, exactly. Well, one thing I always go back to is like how much the stress is just so much worse for you than if you're just going to freaking eat the piece of bread or whatever.
Absolutely. The stress is so much worse for you than eating the piece of bread. Absolutely.
So have you has your health coaching always been focused on this, or was it more like generic and now you've niched down?
I would say at the beginning, like as soon as I graduated, it was way more generic. I was kind of just trying to help people learn how to eat healthy, lose weight, whatever their goals were. But I definitely didn't have a niche then. That was back in 2015, I think. And I definitely didn't have a niche. I would say I didn't niche down until like the past 2 years, which niching down completely changed my entire business.
So really? Okay. Yeah, no, that's amazing. Can you please tell us more about that? That's awesome.
Yeah. So like find like how to niche down
how to niche down, and then how that like took your business to the next level.
So I would say basically how to niche down is like finding what you struggle with. I believe that we're all given struggles and trials that we are going to get through to help people get through those struggles and trials. So like think of something you struggle with in your life, or like if you're a health coach or whatever and need to find a niche, what's your story? Like what brought you to do this? Why do you want to do this? Did you overcome something in your life? Like for me, binge eating and all that kind of stuff, or just like learning how to be healthy. So finding like exactly what your story is and what brought you to that, and telling your story. Really, like that's what changed my business, is telling my story. That allowed people to connect with me. That allowed people to see my like authentic self and like not my perfect self, because nobody's attracted to perfect people, right? So that allowed people to connect with me more and realize that they weren't alone in that. So when I'm telling my story and telling how I overcame my story, then those are potential clients right there that are going to want to overcome that also when I'm telling my story that they relate to, if that makes sense.
Totally.
And yeah, that's how I found my niche, was really figuring out what am I struggling with that I have overcome. And you don't have to be perfect in the area, that you could still be working on overcoming it, but you still have some expertise that other people aren't going to have. And those people can use your expertise.
Yeah, no, totally. And so did you just notice all of a sudden that you were getting more interest and clients were coming your way?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Honestly,
really?
I struggled to get clients before I had a niche, because I didn't know who my audience was. I didn't know who I was talking to. I was just putting stuff out there, hoping somebody would see it and it would relate. You know what I mean? And as soon as I started telling my story, literally everything changed. My clients blew up, my Instagram blew up, my blog, like people asking me questions, it's everything. So yeah, the importance of niching down is like the ultimate importance of your business.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And then you took your like whole business full time like a year ago, right?
December 2019, I went full time with my business. So that was
wow.
fun.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. And then what was that like leap like? Was that a difficult decision? What were you doing before that?
The most easiest decision ever. It's like, I've known that I've always wanted to own my own business. Like, I'm not a person that really, I just don't enjoy the 9-to-5 life. I've just known it, the job I had, like, I knew I wanted to exit it for a long time. It brought me nothing but stress and negativity. And like, so I was trying to be in this like positive, uplifting, health coaching, healthy space. And then my whole life was consumed by like my job that was super negative, and it was just like totally time to cut the cord. So it was a super easy decision for me. And I also worked myself up to be able to do that from May to December. So I worked for those long months to make my business more sustainable. That way I could have an income when I did leave my job. But then COVID happened literally like a month after I quit my job. And that was really a struggle, to be honest. It was like, what the F? Like, I'm like, why did I quit my job? Did I make a huge mistake? Like, how am I ever going to make this sustainable and work when I wasn't signing any clients for like months at a time? But I was just like, nope, I can make this happen. So I like kind of had to do a lot of brainstorming and waiting and be patient. And eventually it picked back up again. Thank God. So we're doing good now. But I definitely, like, as soon as I took the leap, it was like, bam, here's your first struggle.
Of course. That's how it happens. How did you balance like your side hustle with your full-time job while you're still working?
So I was very lucky. I will say that, because I was working from home already. I'd worked from home like the past 5 years that I had a job, or no, 3 years that I had a job, I worked from home. So I was very lucky to be able to work from home and have that time to like kind of be in the kitchen a little bit more and take photos of like my lunch and stuff that I was cooking. And then I would work a lot after work also, and on the weekends. So it wasn't like I just like didn't do my job and was like working on my side hustle. I just had some little moments throughout the day that were easier for me to work on my side hustle since I was working remote. But honestly, a lot of it is nights and weekends. Like, I would work on Saturday and Sunday all the time just to try and get, make your dreams come true. You got to work on them. Even if you want to go do fun stuff, sometimes you got to prioritize your future.
Totally. And were you taking clients like at night?
Yeah. So I would take clients like during lunch hour and then late after work hours. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. You have to commit to it. And you health coach, and then you also work with brands, right?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of brand work and recipe creation in the past couple months, which I'm loving.
Oh, that's awesome. How did those relationships form?
I think just through obviously, I have like a food blog and I post all my recipes and stuff. So I think just through like recipes, a lot of brands would find me. And then I would use their stuff and begin to love it. And I don't know, within the past 6+ months, I've just been getting paid for it, which is amazing. I think it came when probably I hit 10K, to be honest. Yeah, I would say that's when I really noticed a difference with the brand stuff. So probably then, yeah.
Oh, it's good to know for people like building brands. I think a lot of like people that are under 10K are like, where do I begin? So, that's good to know.
Yeah, I would say I still definitely worked with brands before I hit 10K and all that kind of stuff, and like built those relationships with them. Because I definitely like, I only work with brands that I love, and I usually use them in my daily life, or like I might introduce a new brand that I would use in my daily life. So building the relationship with those brands, like while I was building my own blog and platform, like tagging them, commenting on their stuff, like all that kind of stuff. That way, when you do have, you know, more that you can offer them, like as when you hit 10K and have swipe up and all that kind of stuff, then you already have that relationship with the brand, and hopefully you can turn that into a paid relationship after building.
Oh, it's awesome. One question I've been thinking about a lot in terms of like your clients and also with this brands, how do you negotiate rates? Like, I feel like money and pricing is such like a taboo topic.
So with brands or clients?
With both. We should talk about both.
With clients, so my IN, you went to IN, they said to start at like, I don't know, 100 or 150
I
or
honestly don't remember.
like graduation. So that's what I started with, is what they recommended. And just the more I got clients and the more I had testimonials and the more I felt confident in my work, I just continued to raise my pricing as I felt needed to do it, or as I felt like I got more experience, or as I felt like I deserved more. So that's kind of how that has been for me. I'm definitely no expert on it, and I don't know how to tell like people to do it perfectly or anything like that, but I definitely started where the school recommended to start. And then as I felt like I was growing, I then would increase my prices, which, if this is any help, I feel like I've increased my prices every quarter since I've been health coaching.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And then for Instagram and stuff, I started like, they say, I don't know, again, I'm no expert on this, but they say like, if you have 10,000 followers, you're supposed to charge $100. So like every, like, what is that? 10%? Is it 10% of 10,000 is 100?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure
I'm not a math person.
10% of your following, but I also put like engagement and reach and all that and play with it too. So since I feel like I bring more value because I have good engagement and reach, I make my prices higher than that.
Oh,
and
awesome.
then I raise them.
Yeah. No, I think, it's all about knowing your worth, you know, like there's no like set in stone number that everyone should be using.
Oh, 100%. And I actually talk to my girl, Jordan, Dancing for Donuts. I'm sure you know who that is. So I've talked to her a lot about like pricing and everything. And she totally made me realize a couple of months ago that I was not realizing my worth and I needed to up my pricing. So yeah, you do need to realize your worth. And that's a huge thing. Like being confident in the price that you're asking for is definitely a huge thing. So knowing your worth goes right back to that, because if you know your worth, you're going to be confident in what you're charging.
Yeah, that's so funny. I literally just started messaging her this week for like the first time ever. So that's really funny.
Help on this topic if you've had her on the podcast.
Yeah, no, definitely. I should definitely bring her on. So when you were working like full time, did you have like this income from your side hustle that you're like, okay, it's going to be about the same, or did you have to like kind of change your lifestyle to be able to?
No, I definitely had to change my lifestyle. I had to go, and that was by choice, because I could have waited longer and continued working at this job. But I was like, is it worth my mental health? You know what I mean? So I was like, living a lifestyle where I could do the things and afford everything. You know what I mean? Like I had more money than my means. And then I had to go to living just by paying the bills for a couple of months. And COVID did not help with that and made it a long time that I had to go just paying my bills. But yeah, it's been like, and now I'm doing a lot better and I'm making more money, but I'm still not at the range I was at my job. So it's a little bit of a lifestyle change, but I also knew that that was going to happen. So I set myself up for that to be successful, even when I'm making less money. So I did that during that like May to December period before I quit my job.
No, that's smart. I just watched the Minimalist documentary, which you might enjoy because it actually reminds me of what you just said. They were talking about how like in corporate America, you make all this money, but then you're literally just spending it on like meaningless things, like the newest car, all this stuff for your house. Like you're spending just so you can be happy and like feel fulfilled. And they were like, when they quit their jobs and now they're like these minimalists and they have a whole blog about it, they don't need anything. Like they're just like, they're happy. They don't need all this stuff to fill their days.
Literally so true. Like, well, during COVID was a big struggle for me. And I had to like literally, I mean, I only paid for my bills, and I had to cut, like, Amazon Prime was done, Target runs were done, all of that kind of stuff done. And it made me, for what? I did that for like 3 months. And I'm like, okay, I just went 3 months without buying anything. Like, why do I need to buy stuff all the time?
Oh, it's because all these ads are in our face all the time.
Oh
Like, you
my
need
God.
this.
Gosh, that Instagram and their ads. I would say that's where I buy a majority of stuff from, is because I see it on an Instagram ad and I'm like, oh, swipe up.
Need this, need that. Yeah, no, same. Yeah, I think people would be surprised to learn like how little they actually need to live.
I agree. Yeah, I should watch that. I've heard a lot about that documentary, but I've never watched it. I should definitely give it a watch.
Yeah, no, it's really good. How do you work with your clients usually? Like, could you just like walk us through what that usually looks like?
Yeah, so I offer a couple different things, but my main, most popular program is like my binge eating program, where I help women change their relationship with food and all of that. It is a 3-month program, and we meet every 2 weeks. It's exactly how IAN structured their stuff actually when I was in school. I don't know if they still did the same thing.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we meet every 2 weeks. So during the 3-month period, we have 6 sessions, and those are 50 minutes long. And we each binge eating program is tailored to each client's needs, because every single client is completely different. But we have journal prompts and homework assignments and all that kind of stuff every week for them to like overcome what might be standing in their way of their health and fitness goals or binge eating and stuff like that. So it's a 3-month program, 6 sessions, 50-minute sessions, and we talk about goals and struggles and all of that and where they're at. And then we end giving assignments and homework for the next time to overcome whatever their current issue is.
Have they ever had to extend the program?
I have had people extend, yes, but more so like just because they love the accountability and the encouragement that I bring. So I've had clients that signed up for 3-month programs, but I've been working with them for over a year because they just continue to extend. And when that happens, that they usually overcome the binge eating, and then we're just like accountability at that point, kind of. Helping them with like recipes and ingredients. And I do like pantry clean outs for some people. We go through pantries. I'll take them to the grocery store, like different stuff like that when clients extend to work with me. But I've never actually had somebody extend it to continue working on binge eating.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Wow.
Actually,
I can't imagine. Like, it must feel so good for them, like when they're done.
Yeah, it's really fulfilling for me too, because like I know what it's like to be there, you know, like that was part of my journey. So to see my clients overcome it I love it. It's like so fulfilling, honestly.
Oh, that's so awesome. How many clients do you have at a time?
It really ranges, honestly. So like right now I have 7 full-time clients, or like full program clients. And then I have 1 month-to-month client. The least I've had, well, 0 during COVID, but the least I have at a time would probably be 3. But usually that's when like people are renewing and I'm opening up new programs and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. And I think, didn't you mention once you want to get an office at some point?
Yes. So I would do that if I were to have, if I were to get certified for the response testing. I was going to do that last year in 2020. That was my whole goal, to get an office, take clients there, but then COVID happened. Now everything's virtual, and I've kind of found that virtual just works best for my clients because they don't have to spend the time commuting to my office to and from and all that kind of stuff. So I will probably always keep my health coaching virtual, but if we do the practitioner stuff, I will have to see clients in-house to help them with that. So that might be in the future.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And so I saw that you've been in Arizona for 3 years now. Congrats.
Thank you.
I would love to talk to you about it because I also just like moved here out of the blue. And I think we both had the same idea of like it being this desert wasteland. So can you just talk about like your move here? I know it was like a total kind of like leap of faith.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, just like you and probably many other people, I assume I had friends out here that would ask me to come visit, and I would literally be like, why would I come to the middle of the desert? Like, what would I do there? So whatever, long story short, I finally came to the middle of the desert, and I found out I came here to visit some friends for a weekend, and I found out it is like literally paradise in the middle of the desert, and it's the best place ever. And I was just so I come from a very small town back in the Midwest, right? I live in Michigan, Indiana, like right on the border, very small town. People aren't really health conscious there. A lot of obesity, stuff like that. Nobody cares about working out or holistic health for the most part. So it was really hard for me to start a practice back home. And like, it was really hard for me to even relate to anyone because nobody had the interest that I had. So when I came here and I saw the amazing place that Arizona is, I was just so drawn to the fitness and the health scene here. It is such a huge fitness and health scene. Everyone was outside hiking and walking their dogs and running. There's juice bars on every corner. Every restaurant is healthy and like anti-inflammatory. And I was just like, what, am I in heaven? So I fell in love with it literally my first trip here. And I decided that I'm going to move because if I'm going to start a health coaching business anywhere, this is where I want to do it. I thought it would be a lot easier to get clients here, to find people to relate to, all that kind of stuff. So what it was at 3 or 4 months, I set the date after I decided I was going to move. I was like, okay, I can't just say I'm going to move. I have to like write it down. What's the date? Let's get a plan. And so I made a date, January 12th, and I had like 3.5 months, and I just packed up all my stuff on January 12th and I drove out here, and yeah, it's amazing. I love Arizona.
You manifested this.
No, honestly, I did because my whole life, since I was like 14 or 15, I've wanted to live in California because I would go to San Diego growing up. And I just loved it there. Obsessed with California. Still love it. But I wanted to move so bad that in law of attraction, like all that kind of stuff, I did network marketing in college. So I'm like very into all that. But I wanted to move so bad that I would, on the way to work every morning for years, envision if there were clouds, like I would envision them to be mountains. And like I was driving somewhere where there were mountains all the time. If there were ever clouds in the sky, I would pretend like there were mountains in the distance. And now I drive and see mountains every day.
Chills.
So crazy.
Wait, that's amazing. That's so incredible. Cool. The mountains here are amazing. I'm glad you say that too, because my fiance is like from Arizona, so he like isn't as like astounded by them.
Oh,
I grew up in like the flattest state, so every time I see them, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I love the McDowell Mountains. Oh my god, they're just so beautiful. Every time I'm driving and I see the mountains, I'm like so thankful.
Oh, I need to go there. I haven't been to McDowell.
Well, even just driving and seeing them, they're like massive.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And I love that you like really appreciate the state and like travel around too. I know you love like Powell.
Oh my gosh, don't even get me started. Yes, Arizona is the coolest state ever.
It really is.
So much to do. Like there's like Sedona, there's Flagstaff. I've never been to Tucson, but apparently it's pretty cool. And then there's Scottsdale, which obviously is awesome. And then yes, Page, Arizona, where Lake Powell is. It's like on the border of Utah and Arizona. Honestly, it's the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life. Like
I can't wait to go. No, that's amazing. Yeah, it's so funny. I've never talked to any of my friends about Arizona before. And like since moving out here, I'll post like, oh, we'll be in Flagstaff, which is like snow. And like the amazing like evergreen trees, and then you're driving back into the desert with a cactus, and we're going by the Sedona, and people are writing to me like, oh my god, when can I've had like 3 people ask to come visit me. Like this is amazing.
I am not kidding you. I never knew how cool Arizona was until I moved here, and I'm like, how do people not know? But they do. We're the fastest growing metropolitan in the United States. So
I know.
They know. Actually, stop coming.
Yeah, that's what we always keep saying. We're like, let's keep this a secret. Yeah. Like, no, that's awesome. And then, so you had like a group of friends, but like if someone is moving to like this brand new place, like how did you meet people and like establish a community?
So that was something that honestly was quite a struggle. I've been here for 3 years. I moved out here with my company back in the Midwest and worked remote. And I did have 2 friends from college and 2 friends from high school. So that was nice that I knew people out here, but like, they weren't like oh my God, we're going to be best friends. You know what I mean? Like they weren't somebody I could just call at any hour, any day and be like, let's hang out. They're just people I knew. So I spent a lot of time alone when I first moved here because I was inside my house working remote and then I didn't know people. So I wouldn't leave. There would be days at a time where I wouldn't talk to another person. It was very hard and lonely, honestly, the first couple of months. But Instagram is truly what made me so many connections because I mean, I just connect with people through Instagram that we see each other doing the same things in the community. We have like, you know, we're like-minded and have the same interests. So then I'll connect with them through coffee, like kind of like what we did and stuff. And over the years, it's been 3 years, I've kind of built a community. And I would literally say it wasn't until of recent that I had like a good community. So it took a while to meet people, find those people that I connect with and have that community. But I would say Instagram, going to fitness events or just like different events in the community is a great way that I've been able to meet people.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I agree about the Instagram thing because my fiance is not on Instagram and hasn't met anybody. And like, we were driving by Body and literally someone waved to me and he was like, how do you know her? And I was like, Instagram, just another person I met on Instagram.
I know. My boyfriend's been here for like 5 years or something and he doesn't even know a lot of the people like he does, but I know way more than him. And it's because of Instagram.
It's a great thing. That's awesome. That's encouraging. It's like I've only been here a couple months, but like, yeah, it is hard to meet people. And like, I think you just so have to keep showing up to the same places and 100%. People recognize you.
During COVID too, like that that definitely makes it harder, but that's why virtual connection and Instagram is a beautiful thing right now because we can still get that connection even though some people can't see each other.
Yeah, no, totally. So how has your boyfriend been like super supportive of like your own business?
Honestly, like I love him so much because he is so supportive. Like that's one of the things I love about him and that just like made me fall for him over and over is like, he is so supportive of my business, which is so cool because he's more like traditional, like get a job, have that security, that kind of stuff, which I love because it levels me out. Cause I'm like, you have things that you aren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
So he definitely levels me out and he's literally my biggest supporter. So
that's amazing.
It is truly amazing. I will say like my ex-boyfriend, was not supportive of me doing anything at all. And that was really hard because we couldn't have conversations about like my dreams and my hope and what I wanted to do. So like, if you're an entrepreneur or like starting your own thing, having a supportive significant other is priceless. Like highly recommend.
I resonate with that so much. When I was in college, I had a very serious boyfriend and we were kind of like, we met on like the pre-med track. And then I realized, that wasn't for me. Like I have no interest in science. I'm not going to med school. And he like, I don't know how he like was looking at my phone, but he saw I had like a law school, like best law schools in the country book. And he like stopped talking to me for like a week. He was like, why would you do this? And I'm just like, what? And like, obviously like I was in this like cloud of like love and you don't even realize that that's a problem. But like, if any girl listening to this is like someone's not supporting them, like let them go. It's never going to work out.
There will be someone out there that will support you. And that's an amazing feeling, honestly. So
100%.
Or have honest conversations with them that they need to be supporting you and you're not feeling supported.
Well, when I was like single for a few years in New York and I would always downplay my career to guys on dates, which is like, that is not cool. Like just be you.
Yeah. I know it's so sad, but it's like, that's exactly how the society has like made women seem like they need to be is less, but that's absolutely so false and ridiculous. Women rule the world.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm all about you having your own business. I think it's so cool. What were all like the accounting and like legal things like for you?
So I will say that is my goal for 2021 is to kind of get more organized with that stuff because right now I am not at all. So I just kind of hired an accountant to help me with all that stuff.
Yeah.
The legal stuff, I got a lawyer to like help me out with just what I need to do for that. But this year I want to like kind of take control, but also like understand it more because right now I truthfully have not been, organized or doing well with that. So that's my goal for this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's okay. Like you figure it out as you go. I think a lot of people are like too afraid to start their own thing just because they're like, oh, taxes.
I know.
What is that?
But I don't understand taxes, even if it were like a normal company. So it doesn't matter. They're confusing no matter what.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Well, I'm so excited for you. Do you know, like, besides that, do you have any other like visions for 2021 for you personally and your business?
Just to grow a lot more than I did last year. I feel like last year was just like a small stepping ladder, and this year I'm ready to grow a lot. Definitely, yeah, I have a goal to hopefully do the nutrition response testing. I want to create more programs. I'm going to be creating like a automated program or I don't know exactly what it's called, like where it's like a one-time purchase and you won't actually be working with me. It'll be like you receive the program. I don't know why I can't
like
think
an
of
online course.
Yeah, like a course. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know why I can't think of what that's called, but yeah, I'm going to create a course this year for binge eating and stuff like that. So yeah, just continuing to grow and doing different exposure. So I've been really getting into Pinterest and TikTok and all of that. So just trying to grow the brand all around.
Oh, TikTok.
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm not good at it. It's okay, but
TikTok is hilarious to me because I don't even have the app, but like my sister, who's like, I think right in like the generation, she's 19, that's like obsessed with it. Yeah. She talks about it all day. She like discovers songs from it. Like that driver's license song, that's like the top song was from TikTok. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And she's like, it's number 1 on the Billboard charts. It's on TikTok. Like,
yeah, TikTok is funny. Like, it's not my thing. I will definitely say that, but I'm just like, you know what, if it's more exposure, why not try to do it? But yeah, it is funny though, because sometimes I will get into like a TikTok deep hole where I just like spent an hour watching and I had no idea what happened, which is not good for time management. But it's so funny because I'll be like laughing hysterically and then 15 seconds later I'm crying and then I'm laughing again and I'm like, what is this app? I'm feeling every emotion possible in 1 minute.
Do you know your like algorithm that you're in?
Are
there like certain videos you get a lot? Because I feel like I've heard of people that like get trapped in like the prison algorithms and it's just like prison people dancing.
I get a lot of cats, I think.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I like cats. They're actually really funny. Yeah, so that's probably why, because I like them and I just watch them like 20 times over. I'm actually going to send you one that I watched.
Please.
Yesterday. It was so funny. You're going to
Please. I'll download the app for it. I occasionally download the app. That's awesome. Okay. And I also want to know how you structure your day, because I feel like that's another fear of entrepreneurs. It's like, okay, well, I have to create my own schedule now. What do I do?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a big one. Like time management while being an entrepreneur and having like your own stuff is huge. Mm-hmm. And I will say, like I said before, I worked remote when I first moved here, right? So I worked remote back home too, but I was only remote half the time. So it was just like different. So when I moved out to Arizona, I was remote full time. And that was my biggest struggle in finding time management when I was all the way across the country from my boss. I worked remote. I was 3 hours time difference. I lived in a new, beautiful city where it was so sunny. I didn't do really good at my job for a couple months. Don't tell my boss, actually, it's fine. But it was really hard to find time management. But finally I just had to like pick myself up and be like, yo, Taryn, you got to get this done. So how I do it now is like on Sundays or like the night before the next day, I always make a to-do list of all the things, or like on Sundays, I'll make a to-do list of all the things I need to accomplish this week. So there might be like up to 20 things on my list, but each day I make a smaller, more compartmentalized to-do list with like 3 to 5 to 7 more important things that I need to accomplish that day. And I cross them all off. And then when I'm done, I am done. So that's kind of how I do it. And that's what works for me is I like lists and stuff like that.
Me too. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Because I think if you start with that 20 item to-do list, it's so overwhelming. And you probably could just work all night. Like you would just never stop working.
Yeah. Or never even start because there's so much to do.
No, that's so true. Do you have like a special planner or anything you use?
No, I use just like a calendar where I write everything in, but I also have just like a notes journal where I just write all my stuff in there and like I tear it off when I'm done. I don't know, something about crossing off the lines and tearing off the paper and throwing it away makes me feel really accomplished.
Yeah, no, same. I like to put like the little basic tasks on there too, like
Yeah.
Brush teeth. No, I'm just kidding. But like something that you can just
do.
cross it off.
I
Yeah.
do, like eat breakfast or work out, and I'm like, okay, this
Yeah.
is easy to
Perfect.
do.
That's amazing. Do you have like certain days that you meet with clients and certain days you're doing other things?
Yeah, so I usually do clients Tuesday and Thursday. Those are my biggest days for clients. And then I do work with my clients because I take clients all over the country, and like some have full-time jobs and da 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 da. So sometimes I'll take a client on a weekend if we work that out together, or on a different day, but majority of it is Tuesday, Thursday. And then I use Monday or Sunday as content days, and I try to do a bunch of recipes. And then Wednesday and Friday, I do a lot of computer work.
Okay. Right. Awesome. And I know you have one because I see you post about it. Do you have a morning routine?
Yes, I do. I mean, when I'm doing my full-on morning routine, it can be like an hour long. And I would say everything I do is wake up, I drink water immediately every morning, then I stretch. So I like meditate, or sometimes just like breathe in silence, whatever I'm feeling that day. I like to journal and reflect, just like one page of either like how the day before went or how I would like the next day to go. And then I feel like there's something else that I'm forgetting. Oh, I like to say affirmations or just write them down when I'm journaling, and then make my coffee, of course. And then that's about it.
Oh, that sounds like a pretty good one to me. Do you get up a certain time every day?
So to be honest, I used to wake up at 6:30 every morning, but I don't know, ever since it's been like winter and it doesn't get light until 7:30, 8 o'clock, I can't wake up anymore. So it's like 7:30 now.
Yeah,
Maybe.
like the first week of 2021, we were getting up at like 5. We're like, new year, new us. We're gonna be up at 5. Woke up at 8 today. I just can't. It's so hard.
It is so hard. And I've been more lenient, I guess the word would be, on that schedule. Like I used to be very strict. Like you have to wake up at 6:30. If you don't wake up at 6:30, you're ruining your day and da 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 da. And then so if I wouldn't wake up at 6:30 and I'd press snooze, I'd wake up and be like, oh my God, I already ruined my day because I slept in. You know what I mean? So I've had to just like allow myself, if I'm feeling like I need to keep sleeping, you need to listen to your body and keep sleeping, and you didn't ruin your day just because you got an extra hour of sleep.
Oh, totally. I've been that way too, where I'm like, oh my God, it's 8. I've wasted so much time. No, we haven't. Like
most people are just getting out of bed right now.
no, exactly. And then do you have like an evening wind down routine?
To be honest, no. That is one thing I would like to create. So we binge watched Netflix. Like that's our thing. So we love having.
What are you
Netflix
watching
shows.
now?
Honestly, we've watched everything. Oh, we just watched the Martin Luther King FBI thing last night. That was pretty good.
Okay.
But we have no shows right now because we've watched everything. But the most recent ones I watched were Bridgerton, freaking amazing. My boyfriend didn't like that, but I binge watched it in one day. It was so good.
That's awesome.
I'm like, I'm ready to go live in that time.
Yeah. I'm a couple episodes in. I need to like really commit.
It's so good. It's so good. It only gets better, honestly. And then The Undoing we watched, and Queen's Gambit. So those have been the most recent ones. But anyways, to answer your question, we just love Netflix today. That's just like our thing. So I am pretty bad at watching the blue light until I fall asleep, honestly. And I don't have a routine, which I wouldn't recommend, but at the same time, you know, life, whatever. I would like to start reading and like turning off all the blue light and stuff, maybe like 20 or 30 minutes before bed. So
yeah.
We'll see about that.
No, I feel you. It's just, these shows, I feel like they've made them better, like since quarantine started.
Yeah. And I'm like, really, one thing I don't do is like, I know some people like watch TV here and there, like on their work days or like whatever. I never turn the TV on until the day is over. So like in my mind, I'm like, the day is over and now it's time to clock out and the TV goes on. So that's just my time to watch TV, I guess.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Do you cook every night or does your boyfriend cook too?
I cook like 99% of the time. He cooks. So we have a smoker. We like to use that a lot.
Oh, nice.
So he'll cook a smoker. And then if we're cooking like steak or something, he'll cook that, but I cook everything else.
I'm glad at least you're like passionate about it. I think it'd be hard because like if you do it already for work, so now you have to do it after work too. But
sometimes on like content days, I'll be like, I am not cooking dinner. We're ordering takeout or you can cook dinner. But yeah, for the most part, I do love it.
That's awesome. Okay. What podcasts are you listening to? Podcasts listening to and books that have like changed your life?
My favorite podcast, I always go back to it, is The Skinny Confidential.
Same.
I think they have the best guests. They talk about great stuff. I could never it's always the first one I choose. If they don't have a topic listed that I seem interested in, then I would say my second one is the Ed Milet Show. I love them. So good. I also like the School of Greatness. And then I just listened to Max. I don't know. I can't say.
Oh, Max Lugavere?
Yes, just started listening to it, so I like that. And then books that have changed my life. So I'm not a reader at all. I actually hate reading. I have a goal this year to read 6 books. That might not sound a lot, but I've probably read 6 in the past 6 years. So that's a lot to me.
Awesome.
But so I don't know. One of them I'm going to read is Genius Foods by Max. I can't say
so good.
And then Rich Dad, Poor Dad is another one on the list. If you
that's great.
You can let me know of more. But my favorite book I've ever read for personal development is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, I think. So good. I've read that book 3 times. It's so good.
That's awesome. I love it.
You are a badass and you can do anything that you want.
I totally agree. My friend, I read it and my friend listened to it on audiobook and was like, I have to read the book. I need to read, I need more.
I've literally read it 3 times and I probably should just read it again this year, because every time I read it, it reminds me literally that I'm a badass and I'm capable of doing anything that I set my mind to. It's so simple, but I mean, oftentimes we do forget that. We forget what we're capable of, we forget our worth, we forget all that kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis. So even just reminding ourselves with books and stuff that we've already read is a good way to remind ourselves what we're worth and what we're capable of. Yeah.
Totally agree. I'm reading, if you're looking for a recommendation, I'm reading the book, How I Built This. So the podcast, How I Built This.
Podcast,
yeah. I'm reading his book and it is so good. It hasn't been the best wind down book because it gets me really pumped and then I can't fall asleep, but it's all these just unbelievable stories of entrepreneurs and their businesses and the most unlikely circumstances where they're literally have no money and they're so broke and all they have is an idea. And it's so inspiring. It's really good.
Yeah. Right now I'm reading The Magic of Thinking Big and it's kind of similar. It's just it's a great book because it reminds you, even when you might think you have nothing to work for, no worth or whatever, when you think big and you think things into existence, anything is possible, really. It's a cool book. I've not a consistent reader, so I maybe pick it up every couple of weeks, but every time I read it, I'm oh my gosh, yes, this is so good. You've reminded me that I can do this thing that I thought I couldn't do, or whatever it might be.
Okay, awesome. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Don't you read The Daily Stoic or something also?
Oh, yeah, The Daily Stoic.
Okay, I've been seeing that everywhere, and I think I might have to add that to my list because I'm influenced.
It's really good. It's also, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how I found it, but it's just a page a day, anyone can read a page a day. And I found Ryan Holiday through Skinny Confidential. I would never would have picked up a Ryan Holiday book.
Really? Oh my God. See, I love them. I find a lot of people through them also.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. And it's funny because they actually, you probably saw they're moving to Austin and he lives in Austin and they had him on a few months ago and he was talking about Austin and I just knew, I was they're going to move there.
I just listened to their one a couple days ago about their move. So yeah, good for them. And also another one pager that changed my life that I read last year, I believe, or maybe 2 years ago. The Miracle Morning, I'm pretty sure it's called.
Okay.
It's a very cheap, affordable book. It's maybe 30 days maybe. And I'm pretty sure you read either a chapter a day and they're very short or a page a day. I don't remember. But anyways, it's how I began and started a morning routine because I never could get up and I never could have the motivation or inspiration to do a morning routine before. So I read this book every day for 30 days or however long it was. And it takes you along and helps you build your morning routine. And that is the book that truly changed my life by giving me a morning routine. And it's such a simple, easy read. So highly recommend that to your listeners if they are struggling with finding a routine or making time for themselves.
No, that's awesome. That sounds like a great one. I think COVID made it really hard for people to have a morning routine. Cause
I
like,
agree.
if you're just going to work on your laptop, I mean, I was guilty of it. I like preached a morning routine, and there were definitely a couple months where I was literally just getting out of bed and going straight to my laptop.
Right, exactly. See, and that's how I used to be when I had my like corporate job, is I would wake up immediately and I'd go straight to my laptop, and my life was so much more negative and like safety, and I was so anxious all the time because I never took that time for myself. And now I start my days like with myself on a slow foot, taking time for just like my mental health, and my days are so much less stressful.
Yeah, totally. Now it changed my anxiety. It also like gave me more just like insights, I feel like, because I was just alone with my thoughts rather than just especially when I was in New York. I mean, you're just like on this constant like grind where you never have your own thoughts, and it's just like distractions all the time. And now I'm sitting for like an hour every morning, and I'm like, oh, those are ideas that I have.
And it's amazing because you can come up with like different ideas during those times. And like, it's truly amazing to just spend that time present with yourself and your own thoughts, because not a lot of us do that. It's a busy world.
I agree. And it's not a waste of time. Like I used to think, oh, that would be a waste of time.
Me too. Sometimes even still, I'm like, oh, am I wasting time like spending an hour and a half journaling and like thinking about stuff? And I'm like, no, this is the least waste of time I could possibly be doing. Like, this is great. I'm spending my energy on my future and bringing things to life. And yeah, I agree. I used to feel guilty about it, but now I've realized like it's the most important thing I could be doing, honestly.
Yep. No, totally. I completely agree. Okay, I think my last question, we're there, that I've been asking all my guests is, what is your gift?
What is my gift? Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. I have to think about that one for a second. I feel like my gift, I don't know, because, you know, we're always hard on ourselves.
We're always figuring it out. It's okay.
I feel like my gift might be like making people feel loved and accepted. At least that's how I feel like I do with my clients and other people on Instagram, like girls who are constantly in my DMs, for example, but like never take the leap to, you know, sign up for a program or whatever. Like, I feel like they keep coming back because I make them feel loved and accepted. So I feel like that's my gift, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I mean, especially with these like issues we've talked about, I'm sure if you're going through that, you feel like you're so alone and like everyone else has it all together. So to know that they're not alone is huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like that's definitely it. And it's very fulfilling to like be able to do that to people, because when I was in that space, that's what I needed, right? Was that love and acceptance, and I didn't get it. So to be able to provide it to people fills me up.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was great to have you.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Thank you so much for listening to Lit Up with Lo. Please rate, review, and subscribe. And make sure to connect with Taryn at Taryn Shank on Instagram, as well as myself at Lit Up with Lo. Today also marks the official launch of my website, www.litupwithlo.com, where you can get so many behind-the-scenes goodies from the podcast, including a breakdown of every single guest's morning routine. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I'll talk to you next Friday.